Hi everyone. Today, let's get straight into the charts. If you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos like this every single day, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. This is my 300th video, which is pretty awesome, so I really appreciate any support. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. Starting off with the S&P 500 on the 4-hour chart, you can see we did get that update, and we basically are trapped now between all of these trend lines. We're still in a downtrend, so we have the 55 providing resistance up here, but we don't know quite what to do now that we're in this range. So whether we get the continuation or a sell-off like we did here on the 21st, could go either way. Not a lot of information on where we're going next. Looking at the 15-minute chart, if we do break these pre-market highs from 27 December, you have to assume that we're going to go higher. And you can see we're perfectly trapped in between these two trend lines. Tried to break the highs, couldn't do it. Tried to break the lows multiple times, couldn't do it. So looking for a break of either of those trend lines. This is a pretty narrow range, so it's definitely going to happen one way or the other. If I had to guess, I would say probably long, but we're looking for a break of these pre-market highs on 27 December and then the highs here on 21 December. Those are the two levels we're looking for more bullish momentum. But if we break through these levels where we are right now, you have to assume that we're going to come back down and retest these lows. But looking at the one-day chart, these levels down here have been very supportive. They've been interacted with multiple times. And I want to show the 1 week view just for a moment. You can see we have two long leg dojis here. If this holds up here tomorrow, you could certainly argue that this is a potential bottom, which we did talk about the S&P's potentially making a higher low type bottom here. And so far, that kind of looks like what we're going to see. Moving over to the NASDAQ on the 4-hour, we're basically flat now from 2 days ago. Just about at the close of that first candle on 27 December, or the market close here on Friday the 23rd. Very similar prices. And again, we have that longer term downtrend. We did get slightly above it, what we saw here on 21 December. The question is, are we going to get the same movement? Do we push through this and make lower lows? And if we do, it's probably going to look very similar, big, strong movement. So definitely keep an eye on it at the open. Or is the S&P going to lead the markets a little bit higher into tomorrow? Looking at the weekly view, it is actually a little bit similar. We have that longer term midline from this downtrend, and so far it's holding. We have that long leg doji on the weekly candle. It is worth noting we had a similar movement here at the midline on the August down move. We came into that point, did get the bounce from there, a whole week of bounce, before we came into that 9 EMA on the weekly chart, and then we sold off for the next 3 to 5 weeks, depending on how you look at it. Similarly, we could get a week of up move here, come in, test that 9 EMA on the weekly, which is currently sitting at 278.50, which would come down a little bit next week, probably 275 or so. Then we would get the continuation down if it does happen exactly the same way that we saw on the August move down. Looking at the Dow on the hourly, you can see the 144 EMA continues to be resistance. We haven't gotten above it quite yet. Tested it multiple times on the 27th and 28th, couldn't quite get there, and then once again rallied through the morning session, and then into the afternoon we sold off back down to the 9 EMA on the hourly. This does kind of look weak going into the close. In terms of levels, you have to continue to use the 144 to the upside as your level of resistance on the hourly. And then we're looking at 328.50, 328.60, somewhere in this zone. That would be the lows here at the open on December 23rd. As well as the close on the 28th. Moving over to Tesla on the 15-minute, continues to rally really strong, gapped up, rallied through the session, did find support at $18.66, and then rallied into the close. You have to think that as long as Tesla is rallying, the NASDAQ will do okay, at least into the next day. Did get overbought here at the open and then again at the close on the 15-minute. Jumping over to the hourly, we are not quite overbought condition yet. So you would expect at least a half a day of up move before we hit those overbought conditions on the hour. Moving over to IYT on the hour, you can see similar to the Dow, rallied up, sold off a little bit into the end of the session, and we're basically in the same spot we were on the 27th of December. Not a lot to say here, still waiting for some clear direction, and it could go either way at this point in my opinion. Moving over to XLP, you can see we gapped up and then we were completely flat on the day. This is the daily chart and you can see we got a perfectly flat doji here. And this could go either way as well. You would expect a continuation in my opinion, but of course XLP has been quite strong and it could go either way. If we do see a little bit of strength in the S&Ps and the Dow like they kind of show they're going to, then XOP could move in the upward direction at least a little bit and this would just be a retrace and a continuation of that rally. Moving over to XOP on the 4-hour. We are at that 50 mark where you would expect it to fail. We do have the 55 continuing to create pressure to the downside. Have to get above that 55 EMA on the 4-hour if we are going to get back up into that 145, 146 zone that I continue to talk about. Certainly still possible, but not giving any clear direction at this point. Could always push down and take out these lows. If we do get below 133.50, you have to expect that this is going to break to the downside. And if we do get above the 55 EMA, maybe we move higher. Those are the two levels that I'll be watching for XOP going into tomorrow. Moving over to the dollar on the hourly chart, we actually did make a lower low here. So the dollar showing some weakness here today, fell throughout the session, is showing a little bit of strength here into the last 2 hours or so. Definitely want to keep an eye on this after hours here today. We talked about after hours yesterday, couldn't quite get above that 405.50 level, and then we gapped through that level of resistance, came back, retested it here in the early morning hours, and then sold off throughout the session, creating that strength for equities. And looking at the charts here, this low does look pretty low. Could certainly argue that it might be a little lower than 21 December here, somewhere in that same area, test of that level for sure. And then we're coming back in and retesting these slightly higher levels. And if it does fail here and we break through those levels, right at 103.80, if it gets below 103.80, you have to assume that equities are going to be moving higher. It does seem like we're showing a little bit of a retrace here after hours. Maybe we get back up to 104.10, and then we continue down after that. If we do see some strength in the dollar, that'll certainly be weak for equities. But if this continues to roll over like it seems like it might, then equities should go up a little bit tomorrow. Moving over to TLT on the daily, you can see we had a big green candle. We couldn't quite get above the previous day's open though, so we're still stuck on that 55 EMA on the daily chart. We did get a slight step down on the MACD, so this could be a potential where we're finding a little bit of strength and potentially get a move up back to at least test the 9 EMA on the daily chart. That would be somewhere around 102, maybe 102.25 tomorrow. Do you get a nice little push up? That should be good for equities and financials. Moving over to the hour, you can see what that looked like. We basically opened flat and then rallied slightly. Couldn't quite get to the 55 EMA on the hourly chart, but it does look fairly strong through the session. If we push through this here on the hourly, then you should be expecting that level I mentioned, 102.25. There's also going to be some resistance here at the low of day on 23 December. That would be right at 102. So 102 to 102.25 would be the price target that I would look for here on TLT. Moving over to the VIX to finish out the charts here today. We had an up day yesterday and a down day here today. So we're basically flat right at the open on yesterday's VIX. Looking at the hour, this is what it looks like. So we sold off throughout the session very slowly. Couple of pins here and there, but not much to say. Sold off pretty much throughout the day. Quite a bit more consistent than the choppy day that we had yesterday or really the 2 previous days. And at this point, we could pretty much go either way. Still looking for a break of 22.30 or 22.50, but we didn't quite get below 21.25. And we're definitely not below the 20 level yet, so this could certainly go either way. And those are the 2 levels we're looking at. Do you get a break of 22.55, we should expect that we're going to go lower. And if we get below 20, that should be pretty positive for markets. Moving over to my accounts for the day. Says I was positive $32, which is abysmal. I was actually down $80 if you look at yesterday's video total. I'm not sure how it calculates this P&L on the day, but it was definitely negative. And that is really crappy because I should have done a lot better. I was bullish going into the day and I should have made that money. But I made a couple of bad trades. I thought we were going to roll over a little sooner. And then I couldn't quite get on board with the bullish rally. But either way, basically flat on a net basis. And then looking at my positions going into tomorrow, I have 1 covered put to the downside. But I've sold quite a few naked puts to the upside here. So I am slightly bullish on my deltas, very little bit, basically neutral, but slightly bullish. Thanks for all the support over the last 300 videos. Definitely let me know down in the comments where you think the market is going to go tomorrow. And like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. It's all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.